Hi, this is Lisa Rangel from Chameleon Resumes, a premier executive resume writing company, and thank you so much for joining me today. So today we're going to talk about how to get younger hiring managers hire us, older workers, for the next position that we want. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I've been doing executive level, senior level, job search, masterminds over the last few months. And this is whether I'm talking about resumes or profiles or ageism or job searching, I'm telling you, this is typically a question that comes up because, when you're 50, 55, 60 years old, chances are you're going to have someone who will be interviewing you and making a decision about your future who is 10, 15, 20 years younger than you. So it's just the odds, right? So if not the whole entire interview process will have people, younger than you making decisions. It's definitely going to be part of the process. So it's a genuine, valid question, and I want to dive in and talk about that today. How to get younger managers to see that you're qualified for the job that you're applying for. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So the first action you can do to increase the odds of getting hired by individuals who are younger than you making those hiring decisions are put yourself in their shoes. Go back to when you were 30, 35, or 40, and how did you feel when you were interviewing people who had more experience than you on paper? Did you embrace it? Did you look forward to it? Did you have insecurities about it? Were you feeling intimidated? Did you think that they were gonna, were you disrespected outright by older people when you were 30, 35, 40, interviewing people that were older than you? What was your experience, right? And try to put yourself in their shoes so you can then have that degree of empathy. This is a marketing exercise, as you've heard me say over and over again, and this is your market, this hiring manager, right? So try to get some empathy to understand your market. And, be the person that you would have wanted to interview when you were that younger hiring manager, right? So be respectful. Don't have a resentment that someone younger than you has the power to make a hiring decision, right? And you're in that position. Be respectful for them. For their position, for their knowledge, for where they're at, and don't be condescending. So that's like the first part of being empathetic and putting yourself in their shoes. And the second part is of being empathetic and seeing and putting yourself in their shoes is think about every reason that people make hires, and I'm telling you, there's one main reason every hire happens around the globe, in my opinion. It's because people make hires, people hire people because they want their life to be easier. Right? A manager is not going to hire someone who they think is going to make their life harder. That's ultimately what everybody wants. Is are they going to make my life easier? Or are they going to make my life harder? So be that person, on the interview. How can you make this person in front of you's life easier? Whether they're the HR person, whether they're the line manager, whether they're a peer manager who's offering insight into the hire, even though you won't be directly reporting to them. Whoever it is, whatever their role is, just be the person that makes their life easier. And I can tell you, you will get, it's the whole thing, you get more flies with honey, right? So just be that person. See how you can make their life easier and be respectful. The second thing that you can do to increase your odds of getting hired by younger hiring managers is ask what they're looking to accomplish in making this hire. And find out the challenge that they are experiencing or the opportunity before them. Find that out and then offer recent relevant achievements that demonstrate how you can help make that goal happen for them. Don't pontificate about your years of experience. Don't pontificate about something you did 20 years ago that was similar. Really try to focus on recent relevant achievements because they're ageless. And then you're talking, even if they're transferable skills, I'd much rather you talk about recent, relevant, transferable skills than something that is exactly the same 20 years ago. Because everyone thinks what they're doing now, including us, so this isn't just a younger generation, everyone thinks what they're doing now is different than what they did 20 years ago. So, or their experience is different than what happened to 20 years ago. So we need to speak in recent relevancy and find out what their challenge is that they're looking to get fixed, or the opportunity that is before them that they're looking to capitalize on by making this hire, and then match your recent relevant achievements to show how you can help them meet that goal. Again, with them, not competing with them. So that's the other thing. Is just ask what they need, and then show how you can help. And the third way that you can increase your odds to getting hired by hiring managers that are younger than you is, ask what success will look like by the person in this job. And beyond the they complete the assignment, like that is beyond that type of dialogue. What will the relationship building look like? What will they want to see in terms of interdepartmental relations? What would they like to see in terms of promotion of the department amongst the rest of the company, or certain clients that they're looking to achieve, land, or whatever the job is? Like, what does that look like, both externally and internally? And, then again, take your recent relevant achievements and show how, and connect the dots for them on how you can help them make that happen. So those are basically the three ways. But, generally speaking, it's about approaching people as equals, approaching people as humans who have value and bring it to the table the same way you do. And yes, I know respect has to happen on both sides, but we have to start with it, in my opinion, as the applicant, or at least be responsible for our side of the street, right? And then obviously if we're disrespected in an interview, then we aren't going to take that job, right? So it's okay. But I sometimes see, senior level job seekers, have a bit of sometimes a resentment that they're in this position of having to look, or, at a point in their career where they felt like they've arrived and they've achieved so much, and now they have to proactively look for a job when they'd expected the opposite, right? I get that there's a lot of emotionality around being a senior level job seeker. It hurts, and it's hard, and it can be a little bit ego deflating, right? But you know what? We are able to overcome. We can do hard things. And most importantly, we can learn from these other generations, and we all bring things to the table that have value, and each generation has made their mistake. So the key is focusing on what we can learn from others. And this goes even beyond the generational discussion. It's everything, right? But we just have to humble ourselves and see how we can be of service, and make sure that we are including all the perspectives of discussion that need to happen. And I think when you come across as someone who can relate intergenerationally, and you make everyone around you feel comfortable and welcome, and that they have a perspective, then people will want to be around you, right? You will make their job easier. And that doesn't mean you can't challenge people respectfully. It doesn't mean you can't have differing opinions or anything to that effect. But ultimately, when you want to get hired somewhere, you need to show how you're going to make that person's life easier and have an active contribution. And they should be making your life easier as well. And that's the part of the discussion that we haven't really touched on today, but clearly they have to add value to your life for you to want to take this job. That to me is another video. But you want to make sure that you are adding value, you are making that person feel comfortable, and that they will feel comfortable managing you, right? And obviously they need to do the same for you, right? So this is not a one-sided discussion, but today I want to just talk about the things that we can control, and that if we're demonstrating these behaviors on an interview, we're more likely to be moved along the process and ultimately chosen as the person who is going to be doing that job. So, we have so much to offer, and I just want you to be able to digest it and showcase it accordingly. And just to touch on something that I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, listen more and don't try as hard to prove. I think that's the key. Because sometimes I think when we are not being accepted, it's instinctive. We want to try harder to show how qualified we are. And I think that when we're trying too hard, we can put people off. So if you feel that need to overprove, maybe just use it as a gut check to ask a question or listen better. And I guarantee you, you will probably get more information that'll allow you to then offer a targeted decision, a targeted piece of information that speaks to that answer that they gave you, instead of just overproving with general, achievements that may not apply to that particular hiring manager, and then they're just going to think you're trying too hard. So that's more of a general piece of advice. So I hope this helps. I am having another executive job search Q&A mastermind session. I have the link to apply down below. If by the time you've watched this, you've missed it, you'll also be able to join my email list. So this way you get notified for the next time we're doing them. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you feel that this will help somebody, I'm going to ask you to share it. If you feel that you don't want to miss next week's video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, you can email me at lr@chameleonresumes.com or comment below. I read and reply to every email and every comment. And if you like the video, make sure you like it. So thanks so much. Have a great day. Be safe.